So you go ahead and make the decision you're going to make this movie. The whole process, it took how long? And then what were some of the biggest challenges on that? I mean, we see some of them in the film, but...
Yeah, I think probably the production was around 2 years. I mean, from beginning of talking about it and development to finished product was probably over 3 years.
Wow.
Shooting was 2 years of shooting, and then there was a year of over a year of post-production and editing. But I think the big challenges were how to manage the production in a way that Alex had the space he needed to do what he did and was insulated from all the pressures that we were feeling. You know, as a producer of a film, you're accountable to every dollar that you spend. You know, if you're a professional and you're making a real feature documentary with studio backing, I mean, you're accountable for a lot of things, including producing a film, but like you're accountable for every dollar you spend. And you know, there's the burn rate per day, you know, there's a lot of factors, you know, how big of the crew do we need right now when you don't know what he's doing and when he's going to do it. So there's like the producing challenges.
Because you never knew when he was going to go.
Yeah, and you didn't have a timeline.
And you don't talk about it.
And you have a fixed budget, but you don't have a fixed production because you don't know what the timeline's going to be. So you've got to do, I mean, it's ninja producing essentially, right? Because you're kind of guessing and feeling things out and trying to sort out how to best spend the money. When are we going to bring in the heavy artillery and get, you know, run 8 cameras and hire, you know, 5 cinematographers who you have to travel in, feed, house, yeah, I mean, producing wise, it's a highly challenging film to produce. But then there was the safety side.
Right.
How do you manage the safety? We had only, you know, I think I mentioned this before, but to be on the high angle team, you had to be an elite, world-class professional climber, because I could never have to wonder if you were making a good or bad decision on the wall.
Right. Not just a filming decision, what Alex's safety
just
decision.
the climbing side.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I mean, you're on a 3,000-foot wall, swinging around for hours on end, for days on end. You know, just the pure volume of time that we had people in high angle terrain, where one mistake could be catastrophic. You know, it's a numbers thing. Yeah. Like per person, per day, per hour, per week, per month. You know, I mean, when you add up all those numbers, that's how you calculate risk, you know. It's like there's just the pure numbers weren't stacked in our favor. So
that's without even getting Alex in the equation.
Yeah, okay. That's just the crew.
Right.
You know.
How are you so calm, Jimmy? I was always wondering.
Well, you have to be.
I guess so, but still.
But that's just the crew. And then they have to be able to film. And then there's the whole pressure of getting the right shots, being in the right place. And then there was the pressure of not dropping a lens cap or having the ropes that are coiled onto you unravel and knock them off. You know, I mean, there was like 1,000 details there.
Which is the life and death problem.
So there was managing that, and then there was the part about making sure that Alex felt like a safe space to work in.
Right, and then you can't ask Alex when he's going to go.
Mm-mm.
He's not going to tell you when he's going to go.
No.
You can't even imply. You just have to watch it happen.
That's one of the guidelines, was that no one was ever allowed to ask Alex when he was going to go, because we never wanted him to feel like we were putting pressure on him to do it. Because the thinking, you know, I thought through all of it. If anybody ever asked him to go and he fell, that's very different than if you never asked him to go and he fell. Because if you asked him to go you would feel, even if it was the slightest, bit that you contributed to him falling, that would be a very different way to live with yourself than if you hadn't asked and you gave him the space and you knew that you had given him the space. So we thought through all of those things. So it was like, we're never allowed to ask him when he's going to go.
And there's a point early on in the film when he's kind of got a sprained ankle and it's kind of swollen, and he's going up this first part of the climb, which I guess is the free blast climb, which for a non-trained climber, it looks easy, right? Because it's like, it's got an angle to it, and it doesn't, you're not climbing back from vertical, which for, I guess, a non-trained person looks harder. Although now that once you understand it, you realize it's really like this slick surface.
It's like climbing on glass.
Right, and Alex bails there and says, I'm not going to do it, which is, God, again, brings more tension to the film, but also you don't know when you're going to climb.
No, I mean, it was a really hard moment for us as his friends, because we knew how disappointed he was.
And himself, right? I mean,
and himself.
Alex, that's what pushes him, right? He believes he should do this, can do it. He's very hard on himself.
Yeah, he is hard on himself. Right. And we saw some of that because of his upbringing. But it was a very difficult moment to film, too, when he comes down and he goes and sees Peter Croft. Right. And Peter's basically like, already question him about, you have to do it for the right reasons. It's incredibly important to do it for the right reasons. And, Alex kind of bats back to him like, well, I think I'm still doing it for the right reasons, but from the outside, people might think I'm doing it for the wrong reasons because I have this whole film crew. They had that conversation before he goes up. So then when he doesn't do it and he comes down and we have to film, it was like an incredibly difficult moment to like pull out the cameras and film.
Does part of you want to not do it?
Oh, everybody wanted to crawl underneath a rock,
right?
Because here he is, so disappointed, and but it's an important moment, and that's nonfiction filmmaking.
Yeah,
it's like you have to film when you least want to film,